Hello and welcome. This is going to be a Akadaemia Anyder visual guide. I'll be your host. This time I'm running with Paladin. This is going to be my 5th iteration. I tried it with the healer, I tried it with DPS, I also tried it with other tanks, and that didn't go so well. Mostly the team composition, and I had issues with the recording. But Paladin is always a sure way of doing any kind of content. I'm just going to skip every single mob encounter. I'm just going to pull everything. I have a scholar, so I have to be a little bit careful with my pulls and also my mitigation timers. So the thing about Paladin is you have a lot of mitigation tools, but when you have none, you are very squish. Very squish. This is a visual guide for dungeons, so I won't really elaborate too much on the mechanics for the individual jobs, but it's basically straightforward. These mobs don't have anything in terms of importance through their mechanics. Some of them have gap closers, some of them have forward cones, some of them have telegraphs. It's the usual. So if you haven't noticed, I don't have tank stance. I did not have tank stance the entirety of the beginning of the pull here. So the healer let me know in the chat, and I had to immediately pop that tank stance. Surprisingly, I did not actually lose aggro on most of the mobs here, but the healer did have some issues, so that's why my health was so low. But yeah, make sure you put that tank stance on, fellas. Woo. Yeah, it's going smoothly. I have a fantastic healer, so no issues there. Let's get these guys and then move on to the next segment. So shoutouts to anybody that's joined my FC. I didn't have anybody this time to run with me during this content. So that's why I'm always trying to recruit people from my subscriber list. I don't want to recruit random players because there's always a chance of them just having an ult. Always a chance of them just leaving within a day or two. So if you guys are really interested in joining me, make sure you're in BRYNHILDR. Make sure you don't play with an ult when you join my FC. Make sure you join my Discord so you're always keeping track of things when I post them. It's the best way to get my attention, the best way to ask questions, etc. I've been talking all day, so I'm taking a sip of water. So as far as these mobs go, they're pretty straightforward. A lot of fish is the theme in this dungeon, or at least the first segment of this dungeon. So the first boss is coming up. I do not want to even bother pronouncing that name. We'll just call it Fish Sticks. Bluefin, I guess. So the first boss, he's going to immediately greet you with the Tank Buster. Quadolithic Puncture, that is how you pronounce that. It doesn't hit that hard, but it's still pretty hard. Tidal Guillotine is an avoidable AoE. The thing about the blue guy is you do not want to stay too close to him. Always have a pretty damn fast foot against him. I can pronounce this guy, Doliotas B, so this one's the red fish. And together they make fishsicles. So that was a forward cone. It's avoidable. Make sure you get out of the way. So watch the other fish. He's going to do a slam with a circle, as you can see it here. I slowed it down for you guys. It does heavy damage and a knock up. You want to steer clear from that. Anytime a new fish shows up at the screen, just go ahead and focus that one. Aquatic lands, no stack circles, slow puddle on impact. gonna spawn a puddle. Make sure you keep an eye on the other fish. Another tank buster from the bluefin. Now this other fish is going to do the same form of mechanic. It's just in a different shape. This one is a forward cone, heavy damage and knock up, so you want to steer clear. Immediately reposition yourself. Marine Mayhem, it's a room-wide AoE. Watch the other fish. This one does the circle, so you want to stay away from the circle area, impact point. Yeah, I think the red mage got hit there. So the thing about that is the time of impact from where you were during the server time and where you were during what you saw visually. They're two different things. It's a bit complicated, so I'll just leave it at that. That's the tank buster. You can delay it if you move far enough. As you can see there, I delayed it so I can pop my mitigation tools. So one down. As soon as the first fish dies, the immediate second fish will do the damage buff, and we can just immediately take care of business while he does his animations. So a lot of names that I don't know how to pronounce, I don't want to even try to pronounce. Thanks a lot, Square Enix, for the fantastic terminology. And with that, let's get started with the second mob pool. So immediately grab your mob and just rush on to the next segment. These mobs are pretty straightforward. I don't really think that they have much. They have forward cones, they have AoE telegraphs. Some of them hit pretty hard, but there's just a lot of them. I highly advise you stop at the three ones back there before you come up back here, unless you have a lot of mitigation with you. So I'm rocking with 480 item level, HQ crafted gear, so I should do pretty good. I have my tank stands on this time. Thankfully, these guys die much quicker than the last ones. I had to pop my most of my mitigations here just to keep up. This is a scholar that I'm playing with, so they are limited in terms of healing, but they have higher damage than the other healers. Just like that, let's repeat the segment. After this, we have another boss fight. Make sure you grab the chest as you move on. Sometimes the other players don't grab the chest, so I may as well grab it. You can skip forward to the boss fight. These trash pulls are pretty straightforward as they are. There's going to be timestamps in the description. So, second boss, second bird, Marquis Morbol. This is a Morbol. Make sure you put him into the circle because he's going to immediately go there once he does his event mechanics. So the thing about this guy is he does non-telegraph tank busters. Hooray. In dungeon bosses, that is pretty damn brutal. They don't hurt too much, but they still do hurt. So watch out for those. Arbor Storm. This is a room-wide AoE. It's going to occur very frequently, typically after a couple tank busters. We got Extensible Tendrils. So this is the event from this boss. Avoid incoming tentacles and do not get too close because you may get hit with multiple tentacle strikes. You want to avoid front boss position, where that arrow is, where his big mouth is pointing after the 5th slam. I'm going to show you an example, but I do not want you guys doing this. So right after this one, make sure you get out of the way. Immediately. Pop sprint, pop whatever you need. This is an example. Putrid breath. It's going to extrude from his mouth. Forward cone. Inflicts poison. Players take a damage debuff. Next up is Blossom, a damage up, and it does a slow debuff puddles. You want to avoid those. Typical iconic purple. And he's going to change that pattern. So it goes from the right side to the left side. You'll see it soon. Another AoE. Another extensible tendril. So I'm going to show you the counter. So this is 1. It does a sap shower, avoid stack circles. This is 2. And 3. And a 4. And finally 5. Right before 5, you want to move out of the way of its big mouth. And it's forward, pointing away from the group. So fantastic. Everybody avoided that. Another tank buster. You can never tell when they're coming. Another blossom, so this time it's going to change the pattern. It's going to hit the left side where I'm standing. Another circle, non-stackable circles. There goes another tank buster. Another extendable tendrils, but we got this guy. Fantastic. I had a great party. I had a couple of runs with pretty mediocre parties, so this one is definitely outstanding. And that's why you get to see it. So again, you can skip the trash pulls. Yeah, I'm just going to post that in the description. Just go straight to the bosses as what this should be. But this is the entire dungeon run, so I will show everything. I'm just waiting for the rest of my party members, especially for the healer, so they don't fall behind. So grab mobs and let's just keep on trucking. And take another sip of water. Alright, make sure you grab that chest. It's going to be on the left side. Just grab enemies. Don't go any further because there's nothing else waiting for you. Just toss mitigations as you see fits. There's not a whole lot of enemies, but they do hit it hard. Eventually I will be doing updates on tanks and mitigation. But for now, I'm trying to finish. Let me stun that guy. You can just silence him, which is the appropriate method of taking him down. But I stunned him just in case. There's no need for it, but yeah. So if you guys are interested in joining my FC, I could definitely use some more party members to join my excursions. But I figured it's going to take a while, especially with my my slow pace. I get subscribers pretty slowly, and I understand it's very pinpoint content, but it is a bit slow for my liking. I think it mostly just slowed down as soon as Shadowbringers came up. Things got a little bit easier in terms of most mechanics. It's very enjoyable. It's just not a lot of people watch as much as they used to during Stormblood. Just giving you guys some commentary. I really have nothing else to talk about, honestly. It's just the same thing over and over again. The Black Pegasus there, it is one of my favorite mounts. I don't like the fact that I have to kill this guy every single time I run through this dungeon, but that's saddening. It's not my favorite mount. Honestly, it's just the only mount that I ever seem to be using. Anyway, just go ahead and clear off the rest of the enemies, and then we're going to jump into a boss fight. I'll see you there. So the final boss, again, another name that I don't want to even bother pronouncing. It looks like a big thunder bird humanoid thing. He's going to immediately greet you with a tank buster, shock bolt. It hits hard, be careful. That was through 2 mitigation tools and 480 high quality gear. A thunderbolt, room wide AoE. They look similar to each other, but just make sure you read it correctly. Then we have Thunderstorm. Avoid stacked circles. Make sure you waddle around to see if there's another circle stacked on top of yours. You want to pick up orbs after the Thunderstorm. It will give you a damage up, I believe the last 15 seconds. Shocking Plumage. The orbs get tethered to the boss, and they increase the boss's damage. You want to just avoid the cones. Thunderstorm again. Remember, the orbs will spawn right afterwards. The damage up marker from the orbs, they do not stack. They just kind of reset the timer. So you see those orbs? This is a shockwave. You can do a gap closer. It's possible. It just has a very small time window. It stuns you first, and then it does a knockback. It knocks you back to the same position every single time. It's completely the opposite of where the boss is. Those orbs are going to get larger over time, as you see there. Make sure you get really close to the boss all the way at the edge, because they do a lot of massive damage over time if you're still in the orb. And as far as I'm concerned, you've seen every single mechanic. It's just a repeat over and over again. So as you can see here, I'm standing on 2 stackable circles, so make sure you waddle around. Grab those orbs. So I believe here you're going to see an example. Maybe not. I'm trying to show you guys an example of when the orbs get tethered to the boss. So another tank buster. Another room-wide AoE. It's pretty standard. He does the tank buster into the AoE every single time. Make sure you waddle around. Make sure those circles do not stack. More orbs. So it's pretty much the same thing. I believe here is where one of the orbs gets tethered to the boss. You're going to see the tether. There it is. Make sure you grab those orbs. Thank you, DPS. So the gap closer, it's pretty difficult to do. I believe you get somewhere between a quarter to half a second before you get stunned. So I don't exactly do it here completely, but it still lets me kind of avoid the whole run back nonsense. Don't commit to it unless you're able to actually execute it. Otherwise, you're going to do its damage, but you'll just get knocked back as the stun kind of cancels your animation. And that's pretty much it for the boss. It's just rinse and repeat. More orbs. Make sure you grab them. Make sure you steer clear of the cone. It gets easier if you're staying at melee range, as the cones, they don't extend out too far. Another room wide. And that should be the end of the boss. Hello world, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe here. You can also donate if you're interested in supporting the channel. There's some more content for you to watch on the right side. If you're interested in joining my FC, the TEMPEST TALONS, the info is in the top left. I'm mostly taking invites from my YouTube channel subs. And as always, y'all take care and good luck out there.